Hello, I'm Noxon, and I'm going to make a brand new trend where you can only experience the best of the best according to Metacritic. So I'm going to start that off by watching the best shows of the year.
So, looking at all the options, nothing's really catching my eye at all. Ooh, X-Men 97. I mean, I really liked all the movies, so I might as well. I have literally nothing better to do.
Holy crap! That was the best piece of cinema I've ever seen. Well, now I want to be a mutant, and to combat that issue, I created artificial mutant DNA to insert into the bloodstream, and it's based on some of the characters in the show, so I should get plenty of mutant powers. Unfortunately, it is not ready yet, and will probably be ready in an hour or two. Thank gosh I'm not dead. Well, I don't think that worked, so my options of being a mutant, well, they're less than limited.
And that's one point being limited has over my options.
Well, to be fair, I only had two options. The first one being inject yourself in mutant DNA and hope you get mutant powers. And the second one being play all the Nintendo X-Men video games. I'm a freaking genius! So I'll be going in order of game release and games I have easy access to, which means only Nintendo consoles. So let's kick it off with the Uncanny X-Men on the NES. The Uncanny X-Men on NES is just like paper plates. I can eat them, and they're letters of the alphabet.
It's the first Nintendo X-Men game. Could you tell? It's not me. To clear all the missions, you're supposed to use the many characters and can even switch between them mid-game. The characters being Wolverine, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Iceman, Colossus, and Storm. I'm personally a Nightcrawler guy. I really like his ability to teleport.
Alright, they removed his ability to teleport, which limits my options, which means another point towards being limited.
And while actually playing the game, I have no idea what's going on. The level is non-linear and I got stuck here for 5 minutes and just gave up. Oh, never mind, I was in practice mode. Now really jumping into the game, I'm Cyclops now, and oh, I died. Well, the game shows you how much health you have in the menus, so it's hard to manage health. Well, after your first character dies, you play as the sport character you chose, and I died again. Well, there's no better pick than Wolverine and Storm. Well, there's no better pick than Iceman and Colossus.
This game is not ideal, but is a fine entry point into the series.
Wolverine on the NES. You see, that's my favorite string of letters. It's a platform adventure game, which basically means if 2D platformers and Metroidvania had a mutant child, it'd be Wolverine.
I think. Metroidvanias are freaking weird.
And where you play as the mutant star child himself, Wolverine. In it, you try to stop his main villain, Sabretooth.
Yes, just like how I have to defeat my main enemy, Air. It's another game where I got stuck in the first part and died 3 times in a row. The controls are really stiff, but the graphics are an amazing upgrade from Uncanny X-Men. But greatest of all, the soundtrack absolutely slaps. Nintendo couldn't do that in their sleep.
Spider-Man and X-Men, Arcade's Revenge.
Now, before you jump out of your seats because you only read Spider-Man, and you say, and I quote, "Oh, this Noxon guy is reviewing a Spider-Man game in an X-Men video. What an idiot."
This game counts because it has X-Men in the title, even though Spider-Man covers up half the box. But hey, they could have just made X-Men a footnote, so props to them for going above and beyond. Now that we clarified that, in this game, someone has kidnapped the X-Men, and it's up to Spider-Man to free and team up with the X-Men to fight against Arcade and other villains like the Juggernaut and Carnage. This game seems really great, it's just that I couldn't get past the first part and died 3 times in a row! I wanted to get to an X-Men part so badly, but Spider-Man controls just so poorly, and because of that, this one part of the level took me 20 minutes to get past, and after that, I just gave up. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse takes place on the island of Genosha and has you play as 5 different characters, each having a different mission to play. The characters being Wolverine, who has to gain access into the Sentinel facility and destroy all the Sentinels, Cyclops, who has to intercept a train, cutting off supplies for a Genoshan army, Psylocke attacks the main base drawing fire so then Gambit can attack a soldier's base. Finally, Beast, who has to gain entry into the central computer and extract all information. Of all of the games so far, this would be the best one to buy.
I would know.
Not only are all the mutant powers accurately shown, graphics are amazing. It's a great beat-em-up game. Beast can actually stand on the ceilings for heaven's sake. And it's probably my favorite SNES game that I own.
There's not much competition.
I don't know why they chose Psylocke instead of somebody like Jean or Storm. Yes, Psylocke is a fan favorite. There's just more popular options. This game is genuinely awesome, and I would love to see a new game or remake in this style, much like how TMNT got Shredder's Revenge. So all in all, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse is really stupid amazing. Wolverine Adamantium Rage on the SNES. Just as bad as it sounds. In it, Wolverine has to go to Canada because someone sent him a message saying they have information about his past. It's another game where I got stuck because the game does not explain what the heck I'm supposed to do. It doesn't take much to explain why it's a bad game. There's really just nothing that makes me go,
This is better than the last game!
just everything here reminds me of... No. Despite X-Men Mutant Academy being on the PlayStation and the N64, I chose to play on the Game Boy Color version because I have civil rights. It's a Street Fighter clone with X-Men characters, and it's a good one at that. There's 9 different playable characters being Cyclops, Mystique, Magneto, Gambit, Storm, Wolverine, Sabretooth, Pyro, Toad, and 2 unlockable ones. This game is actually fun and is impressive for the Game Boy Color. But I found out if you play as Gambit, hold down and spam A, you can win literally any fight. It's a clone! I swear! Thank gosh I won. Now the government won't be after me anymore. X-Men Mutant Wars. This time, a Game Boy Color exclusive. Cyborgs are terrorizing the planet and are believed to be controlled by Magneto. So the main goal of this game is to stop the cyborgs and Magneto. You start as Wolverine and switch characters whenever you die. So naturally, I switch characters a lot.
I'm bad at video games.
The characters being Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Gambit, and Iceman. I'm also starting to realize that the roster is basically the same for every game. Like we only got Nightcrawler and Colossus once. I know I complained about Psylocke 2 minutes ago, but I want new characters like Rogue, Morph, Jubilee. Don't get me wrong, I love these characters. I mean, I made Gambit and Metopia for heaven's sake. I just want new characters. The game is very slow, and your character's jump is unbelievably high, and there's just so many enemies on the screen at one time. When your character is just that slow, you die very easily. It's just not that good of a game. X-Men Wolverine's Rage. Finally, an apostrophe. And another Wolverine game.
Wolverine is just like me. He gets mugged.
Yeah, he's attacked by Lady Deathstrike, Sabretooth, and Cyber, and their goons. Yeah, it's a pretty simple and easy Wolverine game where you're timed and have to get to the end of the level. But the worst part of this game is that you can knock over trash cans. Justice for trash cans, man.
Now, I mentioned before that for legal reasons, I can't play all these games. So I figure I might as well do a speed run of all the other games I don't have access to. And yes, I could emulate all the games, but I just got on the government's good side. FBI, open up! Crap!
X-Men Reign of Apocalypse, only for Game Boy Advance, follows the X-Men trying to escape an alternate universe, which didn't do well on Metacritic. Which reminds me of 2016's X-Men Apocalypse, which also didn't do well, even though I thought it was a good movie. X-Men Next Dimension for GameCube and other consoles of that generation. It follows the X-Men trying to stop Bastion after escaping from S.H.I.E.L.D., and surprisingly, it also didn't do well on Metacritic. X2, Wolverine's Revenge, only on GameCube and Game Boy Advance, has the player help Wolverine to try to find clues about his past, and to no one's surprise, it did not do well on Metacritic. X-Men Legends, for the GameCube and other modern consoles for the time. And the N-Gage, for any of you N-Gage fans out there. The game has the X-Men go on several missions to try to stop Magneto and breaks the trend of not having a good score on Metacritic. X-Men Legends 2, Rise of Apocalypse continues N-Gage support. It has the X-Men team up with a band of mutants known as the Brotherhood of Mutants to stop Apocalypse, who was recently awoken, and actually, this game did better than its predecessor. X-Men, the official game for DS, GameCube, and Game Boy Advance, because screw all the unofficial games. The game takes place during the events of X2 and X-Men The Last Dance, and follows Wolverine, Iceman, and Nightcrawler, and explains things between movies like why Nightcrawler is in the third movie, but it isn't known if it is canon to the Fox movie. Oh, and the pattern is back! X-Men Origins Wolverine, a game based on this. Do I need to explain why this would be a bad game? The PS3 and 360 got a sick M-rated hack and slash game that did really well on Metacritic.
So all those games I just played or reviewed are either amazing or Spider-Man and the X-Men. But if I had to recommend one, it'd definitely be X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. I think my science experiment actually worked. Let's see, I think my powers include turning invisible and teleportation. Well, now that I'm a mutant, I want to be an X-Men. To combat the issue, I made myself an X-Men 97 intro. Well, now I'm gonna go to Disneyland, and definitely not Splash Mountain.